Right, ladies and gentlemen, part 2 of the live show with Declan Lone and Shane Casey coming right up. But before we show you that and you get stuck into it, we want to talk to you a little bit about our sponsor. We are now working with a great place on the Lisburn Road in Belfast called the Duncairn Pub, Bar and Restaurant and Function Room. A place that I've performed in, I've eaten in, I've drank in. It's fully refurbished. It looks fantastic. They're fans of the podcast. We're fans of them. And we want you to be fans of them as well. Right? If you're looking to go somewhere for a bit of food, you want a Sunday roast or something, you want to take the family out, you want to take the parents out, you want to take your partner out, you go, oh, I've never been there before. We're normally going to the same places all the time. Well, why don't you go down to the Duncairn on the Lisburn Road, right? You can go in there, get a starter and a main course, £22 for the month of January. Where would you get that else? Where else would you get that? There's plenty of events down there, regular comedy clubs. On the 27th of January, there's a big rugby night there where I'm hosting. Myself, Chris Henry and Devon Toner, 2 former Irish rugby internationals. I'll be chatting to them, previewing the Six Nations. Tickets are only £12.50. If you're looking for stuff to do in January, you want to get a good start to the year, you want to get some good food into you, a good venue, a good ambiance, good clientele and great staff, the Duncairn Pub on the Lisburn Road is your place to go. You can also get a discount on your food if you just type in this code or tell them the code. They'll sort you out. Tell them Cork and the North podcast has sent you. All the details are below here on the video. Go onto their website, book a table, use the discount code, and that's all we can do for you, right? We're going to fill your bellies up with drink and food and have a good time in a good venue, the Duncairn Pub. So please do check them out. We're going to be there performing there this year. We're going to be recording podcasts from there this year. We're also going to be doing comedy from there. We're going to be down there quite a bit this year. So please do come down, get yourself known to the people down there, get regular, visits down there and support a good business just off the Lisburn Road. Okay, enjoy part 2 of Cork in the North Live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Cork in the North podcast. Big thanks to everyone that likes, shares and subscribes and tunes into us every Thursday at 6 o'clock as we release the podcasts in this very difficult environment of podcasting. If you do like what we do, please sign up to the Patreon. It's £3 extra a month. And you get extra episodes. It keeps the podcast afloat, ladies and gentlemen, to allow us to go on holiday. And it also pays for all the technical equipment, Sean's wages. He's got a baby on the way, so God knows he fucking needs the money. And his massive cocaine addiction as well. True, isn't it, Sean?
Half true,
Yeah, half cocaine. Anyway.
Bit of truth in everything.
A bit of truth. I don't know what you're saying. But anyway, listen, thanks very much to everyone that's joining us. Now, this week, joining us on Cork and our podcast, well, as we know, if you listen to the podcast, we do like to mix it up a little bit. Not only do we have the comedians from across the island, we also have people from different backgrounds. In the past, we've had people like Naomi Long, we've had Stuart McCluskey. Recently, we've had the former Ulster Unionist Party leader, Mike Nesbitt, which we received amazing feedback. Such amazing feedback, we had to turn the comments off. Because the feedback was so positive about that, we thought, you know what, we're getting too much feedback here. We need to reduce the feedback. So joining me on the sofa, or the chairs, ladies and gentlemen, this week, we've got 2 people from a different type of world that I work in. One of our first guests is a gentleman called Declan Lone, who's the writer of this very successful TV show, Blue Lights, filmed here in Northern Ireland, is recently nominated for a National Television Award. And not only that, he's a writer, director of many projects, things made like the Salisbury's poisonings and stuff like that. And he's also an investigative journalist as well, for the big career behind him. We also have an actor as well who's made a big effort to be here with us today, ladies and gentlemen. He's also driven all the way up this morning from Cork, leaving his very heavily pregnant wife to come up here and do this episode with us as well. He's an actor that's appeared in Ken Loach films, The Wind That Shakes the Barley. He's won a Palme d'Or in Cannes. He's also the star of the BBC and RTE show, The Young Offenders, playing the character Billy Murphy, which is regarded as one of the most watched episodes in the history of Irish comedy. Ladies and gentlemen of Cork and the North, will you please put your hands together and welcome the amazing 2 gentlemen, Declan Lone and Shane Casey. So, yes, thank you very much, gentlemen, for being here today, because you've all had to make a big effort to be here today, because when I asked Declan to actually come on the show, he's like, I'd love to do it, I just need to get childcare. Yeah. Is that what it was?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
And then Shane woke up this morning in Cork and drove all the way up from Cork to Belfast to be here with us today. So big thank you, Shane. Good to see you, gentlemen.
Happy to be back in Belfast, everyone.
Yeah, very good.
Good
Now,
afternoon.
you both never met each other before.
No.
Just there.
Yeah, but you're both aware of each other's work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched Blue Lights there a couple of weeks ago, and first episode, I think, and really enjoyed it. So it's great to see some good writing getting aired on television. So well done.
You better watch the second one.
Yeah. No, I want to binge it. I sat down and the missus, as you said, is heavily pregnant, so she was gone up to bed, and I was getting a bit of the are you coming up kind of carry on. So I said, yeah, but this is good. So you got an extra 20 minutes out of me, bud, so fair play.
Yeah. Blue Light Series 2, Declan, any special appearances from anybody at all by any chance? Any comedians at all in it at all by any chance?
This is literally the one thing I said, we can't talk about that, right? Don't ask me anything about Blue Light Season 2. And your first question...
Welcome to Cork and the
anyway,
North,
what he's trying to get at is that he's an extra in it. That's what
I am
he's trying
a supporting artist, Declan, okay?
Sorry, supporting artist. Sorry. My bad.
Did you get your union card?
So listen, by the way, we wrapped last Friday, and I brought you some merch, seeing as you were in it.
Oh my God, look at this.
Now, you don't have to wear it, right? Because it's just advertising, but I brought one for Aaron when he comes.
I'll wait for season 3, but...
in return, I want that
You got a
beanie.
Cork and the North hat? They're $12.99 though.
Well,
So there you go. No,
it's
you can
fine.
take it. Come on, take it, sure. Oh, Jesus.
I was saying, could you give me one at the end of season 3, please?
oh, well,
That would be nice.
all right.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind a partner.
I'll tell you. Anyway, listen, lads, it's great to see you, and thanks very much. And first of all, Declan, before we crack into all things acting and all things writing and all things that are amazing TV shows that are being created on this island, how I came about to know Declan or met Declan, I got a supporting artist role, co-creator and a writer, co-writer of that scene that I was in, was. On the radio in the morning, we were big fans of the show, because one thing we talk about when we do the Q Radio breakfast show is we'd always be, what are you watching at the weekend, and what did you watch at the weekend? And I said, I started this thing called Blue Lights, because I love my police dramas and stuff like that. And next thing you know, we just DM'd you on Instagram or something like that, and we said, do you want to come on the Q Radio breakfast show and talk about Blue Lights? And you came in, and Shan and Martin came in as well with you, and next thing you know, we did bully you live on air and go, any chance I could be in it?
Yeah.
And then he was literally just went, yeah.
Yeah. What else could I say? We were live on air, and then I had to follow through on the promise. But we did.
But we did do it. We filmed it. Yeah, it was brilliant.
Did you have a good
it's
day?
a terrible ending to the series. Everyone died. Like, I was the only one left. Apparently, it's me in season 3. It's just me. Yeah. It's just me and Aaron just walking around. Shane as well. You're a writer, not only just a writer and an actor as well. Been in The Young Offenders, been in lots of films and stuff like that. You've just released your own play that you've written on News Talk.
Yeah, we were just talking about that backstage there. I did a show called The Man Who Talks to Statues, about a guy who goes on a Tinder date in Cork and ends up crashing his father's car, and ends up on the piss with Richard Harris in Limerick and Phil Lynott in Dublin. So it's mad, but it's great crack, and it's getting great traction at the moment on News Talk, and it's going to air in the new year again, New Year's Day, and I'm looking at making a play next year and adapting it to television as well. That's the plan anyway.
That's the plan anyway. But both of you kind of, like, you know, you're both in a different world than I'm in, like, because what you may not know, Declan, is I was groomsman at Shane's wedding, right?
Right.
We grew up, we met, what did we meet, 20 years ago?
Yeah.
20 years ago, and I wanted to be an actor. That's before... I wanted to be an actor, and I found out very quickly, didn't I, Shane, that acting was not for me.
You auditioned for RADA or Central or one of these places, and...
They sent me on the foundation course.
Yeah. It didn't work out for you.
I didn't even get the foundation course.
Yeah,
like,
but I was like, you had the balls to say, I want to do something, but I don't know what it is yet. And you realised after a while that it wasn't acting. And it was, you know, it was really admirable to see. And you had the guts to leave home and do it. And I never had the guts to do that until I was in my 30s or something. So, you know, I was going, fair fucks, he's doing it. And then the comedy came along. So it took us a couple of years to get really friendly. Like,
yeah, we didn't like each other at the start.
No,
we didn't. We were both doing a show, play in Cork about the Ford garage, Ford garage where they make the Fords. I remember that night I was an extra in it, and you had a few lines in it.
Yeah.
Something like that. And we were there for like 2 or 3 weeks. I remember one night Cillian Murphy turned up to watch it.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, it's Cillian Murphy. And then a year later, you were in The Wind That Shakes the Barley with him.
Yeah, it was brilliant, and the man deserves his success. He's a lovely, lovely gentleman, you know. And I just watched the interview this morning with himself and Margot Robbie, and they're just massive stars. But he's very down to earth. Yeah, he's a really nice guy. But it all comes from theatre, like yourself. You know, he did Enda Walsh's show, Disco Pigs with Corkadorka, and that kind of set him on the right. So I don't know if you've written plays. Have you? Or? No.
You're just a screenwriter. Straight to TV and awards,
Honestly,
Declan.
I hadn't written anything.
Fuck the plays. There's no money in theatre.
Yeah, exactly. No, I hadn't written anything till I was about 37. Like not a word of nothing. I was just not just a journalist. I loved it. You know, I really enjoyed it. But I always had this little itch. You know, this thing. It's like I want to write something. But it took me a while to get around to it.
But you were an investigative journalist, weren't you, for the BBC France? So you worked on like Panorama and stuff like that. So you must have, you know, when you were doing investigations, are we talking about like, because we all know Panorama, don't we? Like some weeks it could be something to do with government, then it could be fraud or something like that. What kind of, you must have worked on some very interesting projects.
Oh yeah, man. It was, I started it when I was 25. When you're that age, when you're young, before I got married, it was such a great way to spend your life. Like so much fun, so much travel, so many amazing places. And then there comes a time where it does ask a lot of you. You know, you get to the kind of constant work and the constant pressure. So I think I was there in Panorama for 10 years, from about 2005 to 2015. But by the end, it's definitely,
I suppose at the start when you're trying to investigate stuff, it's all dead exciting. It's all sort of like, oh, we're going to get these people. We're going to get, like, there must have been something you've worked on that really stands out.
I'll tell you what, for me, I mean, for me, it wasn't, there's no one program that stands out, but the travel was amazing. Like, you know, you'd be in South Korea or China or South America or Middle East, Iraq or something. And when you're that age and you're just going around all these places all the time, you're like opening your hotel room curtains in the morning going like, this is...
Opening Tinder, having a great time, like, you know what I mean?
There was no Tinder then.
Oh, no, what was it?
Not that I would have
Bumble.
used it.
But that's great. But so this is one thing that I find fascinating about both of you as well, is that you're both doing something that you're both very, very passionate about, right? So you're working in writing, directing, acting, and I know one thing that I always, I suppose, reason why me and Shane get on really well is you once said to me, Shane, it's all about finding your tribe, isn't it? Like, it's all about finding people that you're very comfortable with. Mm. And when I was growing up, before I became a comedian, I used to work in the corporate world. I used to work in a bank. I've never more uncomfortable. Yeah. And now that I work in this sort of environment, I'm so much happier, you know. And it took you a while to find out because you were a painter and decorator.
Yeah, well, I suppose there's a massive thing on young people in Ireland about sport. And if you're shit at sport, you have to find another way. And I was bad at school and I left school early. And the old thing of walking into a drama class one day and there being loads of girls there. And I'd spent 4 years on a building site working as a painter and decorator, and that was wrecking my fucking head. Because you've got too much time to think. And I went back to it. It's been really good for writing to go back to painting and decorating a couple of years ago, because I just found I was constructing stories in my head. It's kind of like the child in front of the mirror, you know. If I don't have something to work on, I'm going to create work. So I created a show called Wet Paint, based on my time as a painter and decorator, semi-autobiographical. And so that was my kind of introduction to painting, or my introduction to writing. But yeah, as I said to you, like, you really do need to find your tribe, whether you're into comic books or writing stories or drama. And it's all different forms of drama. And it's really exciting to hear how great the comedy scene is in the North. You know what I mean? It's really good. I just concerned about, we were talking backstage about the lack of younger people coming into comedy in their 20s. But you certainly found your tribe when you went to Manchester a few years back. And
yeah, it was grand. Yeah,
that must have been hard though.
It was, yeah. But like, you know, you know, I wanted to do something, and when I was in Cork, like, I couldn't find a way of doing it. And that old Irish thing, I remember somebody said to me, like, I want to be a comedian. They're like, yeah, whatever, man. Of course, you're funny. Yeah, who cares? Like, do you know what I mean? And then you kind of go, oh, maybe if I go away and be anonymous somewhere, and if I fail, no one knows me. And then I ended up 16 years in England, and then tried to move back to Cork in 2019, couldn't because of the housing crisis, ended up here and decided to stay. Yeah. But like with Declan, when you talking there about having an itch, Where did that itch come from, though? Because you're in probably a safe and secure job.
Yeah.
Now you're going into this sort of like, I want to create a show. It may work, it may not work. There's all, where did that itch come from?
I had it for as long as I can remember. I wrote a play when I was in P3 in school and P7 that the class put on. And then I don't know what happened in secondary school at uni, but whilst I knew I wanted to be a writer, I just didn't have the balls to do it. I think I was just scared if I did it of failing. So my worry was, or my calculation was like, it's better not to do it and not screw it up than do it. And that lasted for a long time.
Yeah.
I think until my dad died when I was 32, and that gave me a proper kick in the arse, because I was like, nothing's certain. You can't wait around forever. But it still took me another 5 years after that to actually sit down and write anything.
Yeah, like I did my first comedy gig when I was 26, and I wanted to do it since I was 20.
Yeah.
It takes a long time for the head to kind of come around to it.
I saw you talking on a podcast recently about a book you read. What was it? Feel the Fear.
Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. It's about 100 pages. Best book I've ever read. And I'm not big on the self-help
So that was
industry.
that was the thing that changed your...
Yeah, but I think a lot of the self-help industry is really good, but a lot of it I think also praising vulnerable people.
Yeah, there's a lot of
What I mean? There's a lot of
charlatans,
shite there,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
get out of bed at 4 a.m. No. Like,
Yeah.
have a cold water bath. No, I pay for the heat. I'm fucking using it. But Declan, it must give you great sense of satisfaction when you sit down with your writing partner and you go, blue lights. Where, first of all, where did the idea come from? Your first draft to then be nominated for an NTA. You're over in London hoping to win an award, to actually see your ideas on paper come to fruition. Like, how did the show come about? How did it start? Where was the initial idea?
Like, I'm kind of living the dream, right? All my dreams have come true in the last 3 years. The first thing that we ever had on TV was a thing called the Salisbury Poisonings, which did well, but that was only 2020. And what am I now, 47? So I guess I was 44 when I first had any success. But so I look at the last 3 years just with amusement. I'm like, how has this happened? But so it was the Salisbury Poisonings, because that had done well. The BBC said to us, are you guys interested in doing something else? And a producer friend of mine, Louise Gallagher, and another producer called Stephen Wright had this little germ of an idea about a woman who is a social worker who becomes a police officer in Belfast. And they came to us, and it was kind of like it was a page, us, myself and Adam, who I work with all the time. And we thought, making a show at home, we felt that there had never really been a show that sounded like we sound, where people talk like we actually talk, and also the kind of dark humor of this place. And we were like, no, it's risky. Like, making a show about your own place is risky, because we have to live here, and good or bad, we have to deal with it. But I've been blown away by.
Oh, it's a fantastic show, and you've just wrapped series 2.
Wrapped it on Friday.
Yeah, and I suppose being a writer of that show, when you're watching those words that you've written, and you see these actors that have come over, or that you've auditioned and etc., to see them acting out your words, it must be quite a surreal experience.
Yeah, so you get used to everything, and I'm kind of used to that now. But the first time it happened was scenes I'd written for the Salisbury Poisonings, and we had auditions, and there were actors coming in reading the lines, and I got very emotional because I'd never heard an actor read something I'd written before, and I remember being like really overwhelmed by that. Now, of course,
it's normal now. When you talk about taking a risk with writing something like from where you're from, Shane, you're one of these people that I've known for years and years and years who've been acting in plays and touring around and going into schools and stuff. And then all of a sudden you got this part in a film called Young Offenders, about a drug hall that came in off the Cork coast, which then spiraled into a series, BBC, RT, second series. You've just wrapped it on another series.
Yeah.
It must be quite strange, like Declan's talking about writing from, where he knows, talk about what you know, and you're in a show based in Cork, about Cork, being from Cork. It must be quite brilliant and unique as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's brilliant, it's unique, but like, we're in a different world as well, so we get away with things being not really Cork, and people realise that we're kind of, like similar to Shameless, in a kind of a different world that's slightly outside of Cork, so we get a bit of leeway. People love seeing the place, and that's great. But just back to what you were saying there a minute ago, Declan, Aaron actually said the same thing when we were chatting back there in the green room about the momentum going of success, and you send 2020, that had clicked off for one show, and here we are only in the end of 2023, and you've done 2 seasons of one show and another show. And it must be the same for yourselves, you know what I mean? That seeing that momentum happen is amazing. You know, when somebody comes to you and they give you a sheet of paper, as you said, that's what it was for me. It's exactly the same thing where Peter Foot went, I want you to audition for this. And auditions aren't like you think they are on TV. It's normally me looking for a lump of fucking blue tack so I can stick my phone on a wall and press record, you know? And then awkwardly going up and switching it off. And I sent it away to Peter Foot, and he didn't contact me. Never a good sign. So 3 days later, I rang him and I said, hi, Peter. He said, hi, Shane, because that's how he talks. I said, what's the story? He said, yeah, you didn't get that part, but there's another part. And I said, oh, is it the part of the working class scumbag, perhaps? And he said, yes, it is. And I said, well, why did you think of me for that? But it was the best decision I ever made in my life, because my girlfriend was saying, don't do it. And this is what's important. You have to realize there's families behind all of these things. Yeah. When you're going to go away to South Korea or whatever, it's the same with acting. And she was like, no, you want to go back down to Cork, because we were living at the time to do it. You want to go back down to Cork and give away your time essentially for free to do this. And then my agent was saying essentially the same thing. And then I realised I was having an important conversation halfway through the conversation. You know, when you remember where you were having this conversation. And I was like, my head was telling me one thing, my heart was telling me another, my gut. And it does come down to the writing. I was going, but this is brilliant writing. This is brilliant writing. Peter Foot is a posh boy. Like, I don't mean that with any disrespect to the guy. And he said to me, he said, Shane, shit or get off the pot. I'm going to do it with or without you. And I hadn't heard that from him before. And I went, yeah, I'm on board. And it was the best decision I ever made in my life. And again, like yourself, the BBC came along and said, there might be a bit more in this. And they invested in us. And they really did. And they gave us the opportunity to do season 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we'll be back in the new year. But how things can change, you know.
In an instant,
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Because I remember many years ago when I was living over in Manchester, and you got a small part as Kevin in The Wind That Shakes the Barley, the Ken Loach film, and you told me, like, I'm after getting like 2 lines or something like that. And I'll never forget ringing. I didn't even own a laptop at this point. Ringing cinemas in Manchester to find out when this film was in, and I went to a 6 o'clock screening just to see your 2 lines.
Yeah.
And I remember ringing you that night saying, I saw it, man. It was brilliant. I was so happy for you.
I got 3, by the way.
Oh, it was 3 hours.
You know what I mean? And I made them up myself.
But I was
and
so
it's with Cillian Murphy.
But like the mad thing about it is that to see you get this small part, you know what I mean? Like I remember me and you used to go out in Cork. We'd no money. We couldn't even go for pints. We had no money. Like we had no money. We're like, well, I can't have a pint tonight because I don't get any dough till Wednesday.
And the film was getting a bit of shit. Well, naturally enough, it's political enough. But it's more of an anti-war film than an anti-this or that. That's what was going on at the time was like there was another Iraqi war going on.
That's right.
This thing was going on. And it was Paul Leverty, who's from the north, and he's an amazing guy, and Ken Loach. So, in a way, it didn't have anything to do with Ireland. In a funny way, it was about anti-war, because at the end, it's fucking the Civil War where the fucking same family are fighting each other. And I was going around the world seeing all these things on papers that it's the most pro-this and it's the most anti-this. And it was like, there was a negative impact coming back for me from a lot of what we'll call traditional Irish people around the world, that they didn't even want to fucking talk to me about this film. And the next thing, we were out in Thailand and my friend emailed and I said, how did that film get on in Cannes, you know? And he goes, it's after winning the Palme d'Or. I goes, what the fuck? Of course, in Mallow, it won the Carte d'Or, which is a fucking ice cream. But,
can I just say as well, when Shane went for his audition for the Young Offenders, I actually auditioned for the Young Offenders as well, but here we are now. So I auditioned for the Young Offenders, but I got blue lights. So that's the most important thing of it, like, you know what I mean?
As a supporting artist,
Why is it? Why is it, guys, that on this small island that we have such a rich produce of writing, of drama, of comedy? If you think just of the north here now, for example, right, I've got a list here. We've got The Fall, The Line of Duty, The Secret, Bloodlands, Come Home. Have you seen Come Home on Netflix? Has anyone seen Come Home on Netflix? Some of it's filmed on how I actually turned it off. Not because I didn't like it, because it was so powerful It actually was like triggering me to stuff in my own life. And I went, "Whew, this was heavy." Great drama in it. Then down, you've got the Derry Girls down Cork. We've had like the Young Offenders and all that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think people like coming from like this industry is like the economy that you people create around this. Like, so for example, when we were on Blue Lights, right? The staff, the catering, the tech, the lighting, the sound, the taxi companies,
it's
the
a big
hotel.
operation, isn't it?
But like, it's not you guys closing half a street to film for 7 hours. The people you employ, just from your own idea, you're creating this economy. The restaurants, the pubs, the Airbnbs for the crew that they come in from London or wherever. Or from the, like,
Are you saying I should get some kind of thanks and prize for that?
no, but what I'm saying is like,
I
what people don't understand is that the amount of TV and film that's made here,
right.
the contribution that it makes to economies.
It is a big thing. Like, we
know?
would probably have 100 people on set every day, thereabouts. And when you're asking there about why is there so much good stuff? There's definitely something happening here right now over the last 5 to 8 years. Definitely Game of Thrones had a lot to do with it, because it trained up local crew to like just world-class standards. Everybody, like most people who work on Blue Lights have done some time on Game of Thrones. So that's amazing. So if a big production comes here, you get a crew who are just like world-class, amazing. And then I just think, I mean, I guess this island, North and South, has always had this crazy storytelling tradition, just totally punched above its weight for, a couple of 100 years, back to Wilde and Beckett and all that kind of stuff. Not that I'm comparing myself with Wilde and Beckett, by the way. It'd be a bit of a stretch.
I worked with him on Blue Lights. He wouldn't stop going on about it.
But no, there's something, but in particular here in the north in Belfast, something is going on. I can't put my finger on it, but there's definitely.
It's been bubbling a while though, hasn't it?
Yeah, I guess it has. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like the comedy scene. I suppose it needed a couple of things to drop for. Like,
Yeah.
Belfast is huge for comedy, as you said.
It's
But like,
momentum. It's like momentum.
the momentum gets going, and it's.
Yeah.
But it is the writers, and like, I'm not. I don't really. Even though I've written stuff, I don't class myself as a writer. Well, I do, but in a different way.
Yeah.
But like, if you don't have the writing, you don't have the show. And I was just lucky that we had the Young Offenders. Derry Girls was lucky that they had herself, and she's an amazing writer. Can't think of her name at the moment, which is very embarrassing. Lisa McGee, sorry. It is the writers, you know what I mean? But what's great for you is you do this show now and you can punt for your own show the next time, even though it is your show. Once you get known for writing, it's brilliant, you know what I mean?
It's all about taking that initial step, though, isn't it? Because I think fear holds a lot of people back.
But man, it held me back. I mean, it held me back my whole life.
And when you look back at it now, do you think to yourself, what was I holding myself back for?
Yeah,
It's mad, isn't it?
I totally
Like-
do, yeah.
like it's-
and I'll never forget the moment. It was 2013. I'd been working with Adam for about 4 years on documentaries, and we were watching short films in his apartment in the city centre. And we watched a short that was a really, really good short called Bullet in the Brain from 2001. And he said, "Man, we have to make a short film. You have to write it. I have to direct it. Let's do it." And it kind of took him bullying me into it, basically, to start. Otherwise, I'm not sure I ever would have done it.
You need that, don't you?
You do. You need someone to make you
like
do it.
my missus said to me recently, because I had done a play Wet Paint before, and somebody was on about doing a sequel, which would have been so predictable. It would have been very accessible to the Young Offenders audience, and it would have been cash in the bank. And she went, "No, don't do that. Do this. Do this thing that you have in the drawer for the last 3 years and get that done." But you do need somebody, and whether it's that part of your own brain going, because you write for yourself as well, getting up in the morning, but like. It's been my wife for the last couple of years going, "No, you need to make something that is artistic and for yourself, and whether the audience latch onto it or not, you've made what you want to make, rather than adapting it to the audience's palate."
Have you ever heard of Kurt Vonnegut's letter to Miss Lockwood's class? Have you ever heard of that?
Never heard that.
So Kurt Vonnegut's a novelist, and he wrote Slaughterhouse-Five, and he wrote a letter to a high school class to say to them, he was supposed to go and visit them, but he was too sick. He was in his mid-80s, and he was getting older. But he wrote them a letter saying, "Here's your homework. Go home tonight and write a 12-line poem. Make sure every couplet rhymes. Have it about anything you want, but spend a couple of hours on it and make it really, really good. And then once you've done it, tear it up and throw it in the bin and never, ever show it to anybody ever again." And in the process of writing that poem, your soul will have grown. You will have become something else. And I remember reading that going, there is the success of writing, which is amazing when it happens, but I did it for 7 years, constantly without any success, and I loved it. It completely changed my life. And even if I'd never had success, I'd still be doing it.
But the actual writing itself, sitting down to do it, is like a puzzle that only you know the answer to. Or that you're working it out or you're navigating.
And you don't
and
even-
I actually enjoy writing more than I like the sitting down and going, oh, this works. And you want to wake someone up and go, what do you think of that? You know?
Same. Like,
Yeah.
like the writing bit is where I'm at my happiest, at my desk writing. The making it bit and directing and being on set is kind of fun. But Adam's really into that. But me,
The rewards are never where you think they are in the arts, I think. You think it's like tits and cocaine. It's not really like... I mean, that's good at the start, like, or in some rap part. But, like, you know, you think it's the rap party at the end and the woo. No, it's like looking across when you have written something and seen somebody going, oh, fuck it, I wrote that is nice.
Yeah.
That is nice as well. But the reward is never where you think it's going to be. And it always kind of surprises you because I'll say this, like, you saved me a couple of times when we were going through COVID. Andrew gave me a call and said, no, Aaron was saying it earlier, you know. He is a good guy. But, like, when the show is done and it's gone away and then you're having a shit day and someone goes, all right, bud, and it pulls you out of something, that's amazing. And I think writers have that in a different way when you go, you might be sitting in a pub and someone goes, oh, yeah, I saw that, I really liked that, or over here someone... But, like, it's never where you think it's going to be.
Yeah, is that where you get your satisfaction from just purely the writing, like when you compare it to seeing it onto the screen and stuff? How do
yeah,
you...
so like I said to you before, I would write about 40 or 50 drafts of each episode of Blue Lights. And the thing that I love the most is I'll be in episode 5 and I'll be like, hang on, I think I can tie this back to a thing I wrote in episode 1. Let me think of this for a minute. And I'll just sit there looking at the ceiling going, okay, yeah, like we're going to pay off this thing that happened at one. And the more you do that, if you do draft after draft after draft, you eventually have quite a complex thing that doesn't exist in drafts 1 to 8, 1 to 10, but all of the little coincidences you put in later.
But when we watch that on television, we don't see that.
I look really smart when you watch it.
Yeah, but it'd be like, oh, I see what they did there, but you don't realize the hours that have gone in to create that dynamic, that jeopardy.
Because without blowing smoke up your arse, no, that's what I liked about the show, that I saw that there was obvious, like, I'm not neurotypical, like if ADD or whatever you want to call it. And pattern recognition is a fucking balls for me because I can see it coming in the show and I was going, oh, where's this going? That's good, like, you know what I mean? When I can't see where it's going. I mean, I can see a bit, but I'm not jumping to what's going to happen in 3 scenes. You get what I mean? So
that's good.
That's the best compliment I can give you, by the way.
Thank you. I have taken it. Thank you.
He goes, I've taken it, yeah.
No, I genuinely mean it because
No,
I
yeah,
could
I
be sitting
appreciate
down
that.
and something just ruins itself for me, and I'm like,
But the other thing is, like, screenwriting is the most collaborative of all the art forms. Like, you know, because you'll go and write your 1.5 hour special, and it's you. And I think most of what a novelist writes is them. But screenwriting is I have people. The minute I hand in that first draft, I've got 8 people giving me advice and ideas. And the one thing you have to do as a screenwriter is be open to
Change.
To doing that. It's just, it's all change.
I heard that recently. Seth Rogen was saying, if someone comes to you and they have the script and it's like they get to section F or part 5 or whatever, and they say to you, there's a problem in section 5, this is what you should do, that they're right about the first part, that there is, if they say there's a problem in section 5, then there is a problem in section 5. But they can't tell you how to fix it. You've got to be the one to fix it.
Yeah.
And when I heard him saying that, I was like, oh, that makes fucking total sense. Because it must be annoying for you if you have somebody coming to you going, yeah, there's a problem here, but they're telling you how to fix it.
Yeah, and they rarely do. They
yeah.
rarely do. They might say a character arc's not working.
Okay.
It's up to me. But
It's mad. I'm actually writing a routine at the moment, right? And suppose how about rewriting is like, I got sick in Switzerland a couple of years ago and I had to go to the hospital, right? And I thought I had bacterial meningitis. And the reason I thought that, because I just seen it on the news like the previous week. I'm being a typical bloke, right? I just went, I probably have that, you know, like catastrophizing, right?
yeah.
But the end of that, this is a true story, but at the end of that time I was in the hospital in Lausanne in Switzerland, they gave me a bill for like $4,000. But actually what had happened was I was just dehydrated. Okay.
So
How do I make that funny, right? So I basically turned this in that I paid $4,000 for a bottle of water in the hospital, right? But I had to rewrite that routine time after time after time to get the point. Whereas I'm going in, I'm worried, but actually I'm the idiot here. But the amount of times I had to try that out at places like the Sunflower, at the Empire.
But that's the discipline.
That's the discipline of it. But when people come and see it, say next year when I'm on tour in the North, like next September when I go on tour, it'll just be, hopefully, tickets are available soon. But like, it'll just come across quite seamless.
Yeah.
But I've had to wade through silence. People saying, it's not working. Aaron saying to me, I changed that.
Yeah.
Then you lose the Then when you get it, the buzz. I write jokes about, say, my partner all the time, and I'd be saying, I've got a new one for you,
Yeah.
And I get such a buzz from it. But that's where the real doing the work is fine.
Yeah.
And I get the buzz now. But it's the actual getting of the joke, I think, is a bigger buzz than the actual performing of the jokes.
Yeah, but again, it's back to the guts and what you're saying, the guts to write, the guts to get up on stage, and finding that is the hard thing to do. Because I remember and we were talking about it inside, or was it with Aaron, and I was saying how it came about to me that I wanted to be an actor was I got separated from a group that I was in a drama class with, and I was making them laugh, and the stage manager or whoever came up and said, they're not laughing with you, they're laughing at you. And I was like, I don't give a fuck. I don't, which is a bit perverse, like, but they're fucking laughing, so I'm in control. Do you get what I mean? Like, I'm not too worried about what people think of me, you know, as an actor, which I'm sure you kind of have. Like, I've seen you been saucy on stage, like, recently when somebody said something to you and a bit of bowl comes out. But, like,
Bit of balls, like.
yeah. But that's what drives you on. I mean, I think,
Cork, like.
you know.
Bit of Cork there now. Yeah. Bit of boldness.
A bit
like.
of Cork, you man, Cork in the north, and he hasn't been back in 20 fucking years. Do you know what I mean? The people who love Cork fucking moved away a long time ago.
I really...
Shane, you came up here in good faith now, okay. I can't go back because of the housing crisis.
Oh my God, I feel like I'm in a Cork sandwich here. The funniest one-liner I ever heard in my life was from a bouncer in Cork.
What did you say?
So I was on a stag, and we're all in this nightclub. It gets to about 1:30, and we say, let's go back to the house. So we start walking up the road, and there was a guy with us, Bondy. His name was Ian Bond. We called him Bondy, and I haven't seen him since. I want to really see this. So Bondy goes, oh shit, I forgot my wallet. I left it on the bar. I remember having it on the bar. I forgot it. And we were all like, don't worry, let's go back, see if we can find it for you. So we go up to the bouncers, and Ian says, I forgot my wallet. And the Cork bouncer takes it out, opens it, and goes, ah, yes, we've been expecting you, Mr. Bond.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
I'd love if that was ended up in like series 8 of Blue Lights or something like that. One thing as well, Shane, is that we've obviously both from Cork. So now, one thing that you do, Shane, you go to a lot of schools legally.
Yeah.
Like they CRB checked and everything, right? But like you go in because I suppose
I'm an
we
early
both didn't
school-
do very well in school.
Yeah, no,
me and
we
you,
didn't.
Right?
You got 100 points. I didn't fucking bother doing it.
Yeah, so you're an early school leaver.
Yeah, I left school because I was in class one day and I called the guy over and the teacher was kneeling down showing other students how to use a computer. This was like in 1997 or something. And he jumped over the teacher, but he landed on the back of the teacher's leg. Sore thing, genuine accident. And he got kicked outside the door. But when he came back in, I decided this would be a great time to have a chat. So I said, well done, man. How the fuck did you manage that? But the teacher only heard, well done, man. And I was kind of, kicked out of his class. He refused to teach me. So I didn't have a maths teacher for my leaving cert, essentially. I did find one, but then that teacher ridiculed me in front of the rest of the class. And I went, if they think I'm a scumbag, which is ironic because of Billy Murphy, I said I might as well fuck off and leave. So I left school in 5th year, like a year before doing a leaving cert. And I made everything in my life so much more difficult. I had to take the long way around through education to get to go back to college. I had to do like introduction courses and did jobs that I didn't really want to do. But like I do workshops now in schools on resilience and communication, but they're all based off my life stories. They're not, you know, they're nothing too serious, you know what I mean? But it's basically, if you have a problem, who do you go to? And it's, don't go to the butcher for a haircut. I know it sounds stupid, but it sticks with the kids. It's like, you know, you go to the right person for the right advice. And, you know, even when I was back painting a few years ago, you know, if you have an issue on site, there's no point in throwing a fella off a scaffold as much as you want to. You know, you go and you talk to somebody about it, or else you just fucking leave, you know. So, yeah, so that's what I've been doing, workshops in schools and colleges and for private companies. And it's an hour and a half, and it's like my little routine. Like, it's a bit of crack, and it's very rewarding because you can see the penny dropping with people going, all right. But what's sad about it as well recently, and there's kind of an influx of it, I asked the kids, would you help your friend if they need help? And they put up their hands. And I said, look, if your friend's car broke down, would you help them? They're like, I'm fucking 14. How the fuck am I supposed to? I said, but do you have Revolut? Yeah, I do. Could you send your friend 20 quid? Yeah, I could. So you could help your friend, blah, blah, blah. And they'll all say they'll help their friends. And I said, will you ask for help if you need help? And I've had a few schools, a lot lately, that none of the kids have put up their hands to say that they'll ask for help. And that's very fucking sad. That's very annoying. Because I was that kid, I didn't want to go home and say things to my parents because we'd just been through a lot of grief in the family, and I didn't want to ask for help, so I opted out of school, and it's still kind of going on. And what's been amazing since post-COVID is seeing schools that I would have thought were traditionally posh. The problems are still in those schools as well, that even more so, they're reluctant to ask for help. And I just found it a bit, you know, it's very rewarding, the workshop anyway. I feel I'm waffling, sorry.
Yeah, but like asking for help is a strength, I think, you know.
Well, yeah.
You know. But on the flip side of that, now, I don't know if you've ever done this, Declan, like, or you children, stuff like, come to you for stuff like, I had somebody recently in my life ring me for advice, right? They rang me up and they goes, Andrew, I've got a problem at home about this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. And I would speak to this person like maybe once every 2 or 3 months, right? And I said, you're just somebody we'd like to, can you just give us a bit of advice? What's your take on this kind of family problem that we have? And I gave my take on it. I'm not saying I was right or wrong, whatever. But also, the fact that he came to me, I felt great that somebody would actually come to me for help. Yeah. That they would look at me as a person, that they could think, oh, Andrew's somebody that actually listen to. Now, whether you take the advice or not is a different story. But that's also very empowering to me as well. Be like, oh, wow, like I feel really good as a person that somebody would trust me. Yeah. You know what I mean? And stuff like that, you know? There must be times like that, Declan, when you were like, you must have gone to people and stuff.
Oh, yeah, totally. So, I mean, obviously, my wife is super supportive too. I talk to her all the time. But then having Adam as well, you know what? Like Adam, we write and direct together. So we're constantly in each other's ears, you know, looking for advice and stuff. But I think on the wider point, you're right. I think that message is getting through to men now. I do. Yeah. You know, well, we've been hammering away at it for long enough, haven't we? You know, 10 or 15 years. And I do think, definitely think in my circle of friends now, guys are much more open about stuff. Yeah, I find that podcast thing, even though an awful lot of it is tripe, the Gary Neville, Ian Wright and Roy Keane chatting, sometimes they're touching off something that's a bit more serious that I think might have been pushed away 5 years ago. And they're not beating us over the head with it, but every now and again, like they're talking about their problems. And it's fucking great, you know what I mean? So, long may it continue. Yeah.
Declan, I know you can't give anything away, but before we wrap up, was it a lot of fun doing the second series? What can we expect? A lot of drama, a lot of tenseness. Like, is it coming back? Is it coming back for series 3? Is there more parts available? Like, what's happening, Declan? I mean, you know.
So, yeah, it was. Bringing a show back that has had some success was scary. It was scary to write it. But the good thing was I kind of felt I knew the characters really well. When I was writing a scene, I knew who Tommy was and Annie and so on. So it was easier in a sense. But of course you feel the pressure on your shoulders. And also Adam and I directed on this season, which we hadn't done before, not on television. So yeah, there's a lot riding on it. Now, we think it's gone really well. Like when we're watching it now in the edit going, yeah, this is good. But like you were saying earlier, you just never know. Yeah. But the only thing that you have to be able to do is stand over it and go, I wouldn't do any of this differently. Even if I could go back now, I wouldn't, and that's how we feel. We're looking at it.
Yeah.
So when are we expecting it on telly?
So I think it'll be late spring, early summer. We don't have an exact date yet, and we're in the edit now, but we should be finished the edit by the end of March, I think. So it'll be sometime after that.
Cool. And am I still in it?
You positioned yourself in such a way that we can't cut him out, and I'm almost certain he did it on purpose.
So there he is. Steve McQueen was notorious for upstaging as well.
So he's just there. There's no cut.
There was a scene where one of the actors had to walk out of the bar because something had happened, and as they walked by, the camera's going that way, and I'm just sitting. I'm not giving it away, but like I'm just sitting there. I just said, just be yourself as if you're in a. And I was like, oh. And then as they walk past the camera, I No, I didn't do that. But it was terrible that they all died at the end. But anyway, right. So, Shane, when are we seeing the next series of Young Offenders?
I think around the same time.
Jesus, lads, I'd hate for you to be in competition.
I think we're April or May or something like that. Yeah. So season 4. Yeah, can't wait.
Yeah,
really excited.
Lovely stuff. Before we finish up, where's Aaron? Come on up, buddy. Got a few questions from the audience. Ladies and gentlemen, get up for Shane Casey and Declan Lawn. Thanks, guys. No, stay there for 2 minutes.
When you're a jet.
Is there a part in Blue Lights for Aaron at
yes,
all? Chance?
Well, there is
Season 3, sexy wee Fenian bastard in Blue Lights, coming right to you.
Do you know what I wanted? I always wanted Aaron to be on a serious panel just to see what the crack would be like. You're my best. You're both my best. You're all my friends.
You can't both be best.
Right, we're not. Listen to this. Right. Now, this is a question for all of you. Here we go. Question for all of you. Shane, Aaron, and Declan, of any 3 people, just pick one person each. Dead or alive. This is from the audience, from Ed. Who would you love to go for a pint with, dead or alive? Aaron.
Philip Schofield.
Who? Philip Schofield.
Meet him next week.
Philip Schofield, right. Shane, who would you go for a pint with, dead or alive?
I suppose the week that's happened, I suppose it would be Shane McGowan, really, wouldn't it?
Oh, Shane McGowan, excellent. Yeah.
You know, I don't think it would be a pint either, let's be fair.
Yeah.
But fuck it, man. Whatever you say, right? And I looked, you did a great funeral for George Best. You did a great
You looked me
funeral
dead
for
in the eye
fucking-
like I did it. I was like,
No.
I have nothing to do with it.
Alex Higgins, we do fucking funerals on this island the fucking best.
Yeah, we do. Declan, who would you go for a pint
Probably
with?
Oscar Wilde.
Oscar Wilde.
Oscar Wilde.
Wow, okay, that's interesting. So Oscar Wilde, Shane McGowan, and Philip Schofield.
Philip Schofield. That's a come down with me episode in hell, so it is.
What a mix, ladies and gentlemen. Can you imagine the crack there with that, ladies and gentlemen? This has been a lot of fun today, Aaron.
Did you literally just bring me up to ask me that one question?
Well, we're overrunning, and I need to be a little bit conscious. I didn't want to not bring you up.
All right,
because
okay,
obviously,
I appreciate that.
I didn't want to make sure that you're part of it because you're a big part of Cork in the North podcast and stuff like that. But wouldn't it be really great, Declan, in series 3 of Blue Lights that the PSNI came in and took part in a podcast or something like that, and we could film it or something like that, or it could be like a bit of a switch over. Maybe the PSNI go to Cork. Yeah. And Shane gets arrested. There's like a crossover, and then Aaron's just in the background or something like that. I don't know what I said there, but
you're the background actor, mate.
But listen, to every single person, before we finish up, the wonderful Tiernan Heffern's going to sing us out. But our panel, and to Jasmine as well, ladies and gentlemen, to all our guests that were here today, can we give them a massive round of applause? To Declan Lawn, Shane Casey, Aaron Buller. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that was another episode of Cork in the North podcast. We really do appreciate everybody that's liked, shared and subscribed over the last few months and so. And please do sign up to the Patreon and stuff like that. It really does help the podcast. Singing us out on this episode, ladies and gentlemen, we've got Tiernan Heffron. Tiernan, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
What's the song called?
The song's called Broken Dreams.
This is a song called Broken Dreams, which sums up my whole comedy career, ladies and gentlemen. I will leave you in the capable hands of the wonderful Tiernan Heffron.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And can I just say it's such a pleasure to be asked to play here because I'm a bit of a fan myself from over the years watching all the podcasts and stuff. So being in the same room, I'm like, hi, Andrew. This is an original song of mine I wrote a few years ago that I really enjoy singing, and this one it'd be good for like a bit of a crowd. What's that word? A crowd participation. And yeah, if you don't know it, we can quickly learn it. So basically, the sing-along hook goes like this. It goes, I need your touch and I need your love. I need your touch and I need your love. I need your touch and I need your love. But no pressure, don't feel too much to sing it until the end. I know there's no alcohol or anything in this room right now, so it might be difficult. Here we go. It scares me that I need you so much right now. Don't throw my heart into a sea of broken dreams, 'cause I'll drown if you're not with me. You know it's hard to accept how you feel. Tell me this is not real. Tell me this is not what it means. Drowned in a sea of broken dreams. Tell me this is not what it seems. I need your touch and I need your love, but it's gone, 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 gone in a broken dream. Gone in a broken dream. Who's gonna be there when I'm not around? Who's gonna keep me safe inside? I don't care if it's night or day. I don't care if I'm miles away. I will be, I will be, I will be, I will be there. Drowned in a sea of broken dreams. Tell me this is not what it seems. I need your touch and I need your love, but it's gone, 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 gone in a broken dream. Try to get this word right. Remember I said about crowd participation? I was going to say anticipation there. I would like to hear this whole room try to sing that out if you want. So maybe start at the front and we'll work our way back, okay? No pressure. I need your touch and I need your love. Yeah. I need your touch. Middle of the room, let's hear you down there. Back of the room. I need your touch and I need your love. I need your touch and I need your love. I need your touch and I need your love. I need your touch and I need your love. I need your touch and I need your love. Love, love, love. I need your love. Thank you very much.